Hello, good evening. Welcome to Camnet Television Main News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo to present the top stories in the news tonight. A family in LUSAKA'S KANYAMA compound marries off 16-year-old daughter at 200 kwacha. MASAITI man commits suicide after killing wife and stepson. LUNGU and HH urged to reconcile. In international news, 16 soldiers killed in southern Nigeria during fighting between communities. And in sports news, ZESCO United beats KANSANSHI DYNAMOS by 2-1. These are more stories coming up shortly after the break.
Get all the latest updates in court news only on Camnet TV. We take you and make you feel part of the court sessions through our in-depth coverage of the adjudication process. Get informed on those who have been arrested, delayed and denied the police bond or bail victims, persons taking plea, court adjournments, verdicts, and those administration issues in the judiciary. Camnet TV is on channel 274 on DSTV, channel 25 on GoTV, and find us on channel 106 on Topstar. You can also follow and give us a like on our social media platforms. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Now the news in detail. In a shocking incident, a 42-year-old man of MASAITI district has committed suicide after allegedly killing his wife and his 3-year-old stepson. Bright Shimbile of Kabamba resettlement scheme allegedly murdered his family between 13 and 16 March 2024 and later hanged himself to a tree using a fiber rope 50 meters away from their home. Central Province Commissioner of Police Charity Munganga has confirmed the incident and identified the deceased as Barbara Nyoni, 32, and a 3-year-old stepson.
Incapi received a report that a 32-year-old woman, Barbara Nyoni of Kabamba resettlement scheme in MASAITI, and a 3-year-old son were murdered by a 42-year-old husband, Bright Shimbili, who later committed suicide by hanging himself to a tree using fiber 50 meters away from their home. Barbara was last seen on the 13th as she was coming from the grinding mill, and her body, together with that of her son, were discovered yesterday by the neighbors. What raised the suspicion was they saw a lot of flies at the door, and then there was this awful smell that was coming from the house. So they broke the doors and checked. That's how the bodies were found. So the police were alerted, and when we got to the scene, we inspected the bodies and discovered that Barbara had multiple deep cuts on the head, while the son's head was completely chopped off. It is suspected that an axe was used in the act, as it was found at the scene stained with blood. Bright is suspected to have committed suicide after murdering the duo. Now, the information that we got was that the 3-year-old was Bright's stepson. So as police were investigating the matter to establish the reason behind the murder.
Charcoal traders at LUSAKA'S Mtendere market have accused some suspected UPND cadres of forcefully evicting them from their usual trading spot without justification. In an interview with Camnet News, Prudence Banda expressed concern about the cadres' threats and the lack of an alternative trading space. The affected traders have since appealed to the local authority to permit them to operate at Mtendere market, emphasizing its importance as their primary trading location. Here's a report.
Charcoal trading is a significant economic activity that many people utilize to fend for their families in various communities across the country. However, recent developments in LUSAKA'S Mtendere area have indicated a possible displacement of charcoal traders from their traditional trading places, as suspected ruling United Party for National Development UPND cadres have invaded their trading places, claiming ownership. One of the traders, Prudence Banda, explains that she is worried as threats of displacement persist from the suspected political cadres and only prays for the powers that be to intervene.
Kuli hospital mazateresa so timakana kwenda kugezangala ko bwanji ku hospital bodwala bazangala ko bwanji era bakatipisha pano kulisa malasha tizamba kuchita chani tizagesa chani bana na mazukulu nichwapuna tikangala tema ule tizienda enda mabao tisikita bwanji yeta metifuna zate ndana ulapo tamene hicho kutipisha rodi tinaisi ya moto kaingena muyadi ya muntu aliyese singala parodi kuchoka na kudana mkada akaunda tenzo kulisa malacha manyumba dote zokulisa malacha koma itimanta bwelapo mange chipanti dapa vale sokulisa malacha manyumba so nete ndana ulapo tamene hicho.
Another trader, Gertrude Banda, highlights the difficulties of coping with the current economic hardships, as her livelihood depends on the sale of the commodity, which is also under threat owing to the advent of climate change in the region.
Tipisha panokulisa malashati impa manyumba impa marodi so tidando levu jati mkatipisha ona ni environment mamene adula unga wadula ise tilibe bazimuna malasha ndia zimuna batu tikabwerako tubana bapunzire tidye tisakire pogola na manyumba tilibe through malasha so tizaenda kuti ona ni 100 kwacha nakanga ni 10 kwacha business nabe inakosa stipeza na drama zolongoso kaza kuti tingachitako chintu chinango.
Meanwhile, Area Councillor Boniface Chibeka has expressed sadness that cadres are claiming ownership of a trading place which is not recognized, further explaining that the area should be vacated to pave way for the road construction.
Because what I know is that to start with, like Chako trading there, in fact they are supposed to vacate from there to pave way for reconstruction of all the third road there. Not that it should be a market where even cadres should be operating from now.
Chanda Mwango for Camnet News in Lusaka.
A family of Lusaka's KANYAMA compound has been advised to retrieve their 16-year-old daughter after marrying her off to a 17-year-old boy and collecting a 200 kwacha dowry. 16-year-old girl who should be in grade 8 was married off to her 17-year-old boyfriend after becoming pregnant in 2023. The situation came to light when both families sought assistance from a community-based organization. Organization Executive Director Richard Nkua expressed concern and advised the family to ensure the juvenile couple returns to school. Details in this report.
Lusaka is one of the places filled with life as dreams are waiting to take flight. However, just like any other area, some dreams are being sacrificed at the altar of tradition in pursuit for economic benefits. This comes against the backdrop of the cost of living being relatively high in Zambia, especially in urban areas, owing to economic challenges the country is facing. According to the Jesuit Center for Theological Reflection, JCTR, a family of 5 in Lusaka needs about 10,307 kwacha from the 9,555 kwacha recorded in January to survive. In a bid to survive the day, a family of LUSAKA'S KANYAMA compound had married off a 16-year-old girl after she got pregnant for a 17-year-old grade 10 boyfriend at a dowry price of 200 kwacha in 2023. It is alleged that the female juvenile of 16 years, who is supposed to be in grade 8, was married off to her 17-year-old boyfriend following a meeting between the two families in 2023 after she fell pregnant for him last year. But confusion had erupted, forcing the two families to seek the remedies of a local organization, Concerned Citizens for Justice and Human Rights, where they have been advised to separate the juvenile couple and enroll them in school.
Mwebene nishapona yo wakulako pali yo ishitapa kutapuisha skulu nishina omumano wachitashanyi wakulako naye nani ishakulako pando apanangu kupana tapali wenga sungira mwenga ndakala chitafefi ya Mungu bifisangwa mofye pantu lya sasa ngwa tulina kwa temi akeshi nono sho bayipusha nombo mwana we numulera ndachakweta amayezi yaso wai akwachiro mwana tali dameja mwana wa bana nzi so then twalisa mfana ati nga mwana nga pusho konka tukamsendo mwana kabwekere ku skulu so twalia mwikati twalia dipensalamu so kutinga bwera ku skulu nga pusho amesambiro yakolo bakopane no mwana wanzi nshija tukapako bati mwana nga asumuka then baina bakambika ku skulu so mwana tala asumuka
ngaso aina 7 months omwana so ngaso muka elodeni bakambyukira ku school nombo mwana nkambyukushala.
According to the United Nations Children Fund, UNICEF, 29% of Zambian girls are married off before their 18th birthday, with 5% married before 15, roughly translating to 1.7 million child brides in the country. Meanwhile, Organization Executive Director Richard Nkua advised the family to ensure the juvenile couple returns to school, further warning them to keep an eye on the matter.
Simply this issue today morning, this morning, this issue is whereby the families are having some disputes how to surrender the girl child to the guy, who is also a juvenile, 17 years, a girl child is 16 years. It's something that we cannot allow as organization. As for today, our position as organization is that we need to surrender a girl child back to our parents. And also want also to surrender the boy child again back to the parents. Therefore, we want also other stakeholders that can come on board and help the girl child. We want the girl child to go back to.
In Zambia, according to the Amended Marriage Act, it is illegal to marry off or marry below the age of 18 years. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
The ruling United Party for National Development, UPND, has expressed concern over reports of unprofessional behavior among staff at Lusaka's Material Level 1 hospital. UPND Lusaka chairman Sevias Ndaba says reports that patients are allegedly queuing up without being attended to undermine the progress made by the current administration in healthcare sector. Mr. Ndaba, however, assured that authorities are working to address the issue and advises healthcare practitioners to uphold professionalism. Recently, unconfirmed reports suggest an unprofessional conduct at the facility.
Material Level 1, it is unfortunate if we are receiving such reports from residents, because on its own, Material Level 1 is a place where when people don't feel well, they should receive the necessary treatment, they should receive the necessary care. But if we are receiving reports that Material Level 1 is members of staff are not attending to their patients as required, I think it's very unfortunate. I would urge all medical staff across the country that when you receive these clients, when you receive us as clients at your clinics, at your hospitals, please attend to us in the smallest possible time as possible. But otherwise, I think going forward, we shall be doing spot checks in these health centers to ensure that our people are given the best service whatsoever. Those members of staff that are not ready to serve the general populace, I think we will ask them to pave way, because it is not right when I am sick, I go to a clinic, I go there, I go and spend 5 hours on the queue. It's not fair. We know how sicknesses can feel. All of us are vulnerable and are susceptible to getting sick. But if people go to these health centers and they receive such kind of negative treatment in form of staying on the queue on hours on end, instead of not being attended to, it's very, very unfortunate. But I think going forward, like I've already alluded to, we shall be doing spot checks in these health centers so that our people can be attended to in the shortest possible time. Otherwise, it's regrettable, and I want to sincerely say that we are sorry to the people that have been treated like that, but we want to assure you that going forward, we shall make sure that the medical personnel attends to its patients in the quickest possible time and efficient.
Opposition Citizens First leader Harry Calabar has urged the church to continue praying for politicians in the country. Speaking when he congregated at the United Church of Zambia UCZ St. Paul's congregation in Ndola Sunday, Mr. Calabar emphasized the importance of the church praying for politicians, adding that this is one of the ways of enhancing unity and peace among political players. Mr. Calabar reiterates that unity of purpose among politicians can result in the much desired development in the country. Meanwhile, the opposition leader has pledged to support one of the projects going on at St. Paul's congregation. Speaking earlier, Minister in charge at UCZ St. Paul's congregation, Reverend Josephat Sinkala, assured that the church stands ready to pray for politicians all the time, further urging them to always look up to God when they are faced with challenges. Chief Chukwumeni of Eastern Province in Lumezi District says his chiefdom has been fairly affected by dry spells that have affected several parts of the country. The traditional leader disclosed that although his chiefdom has not been severely hit by the dry spells in the 2023-2024 farming season, generally the dry spells will negatively affect people's livelihoods in the country. He said in terms of maize, most of the farmers in his jurisdiction will have something to harvest, although the yields will be below expectations. He also notes that with concern that some of his subjects have also embarked on premature harvesting, which he said is detrimental.
As already the agriculture department has already put it, is at least better if I compare it with the other chiefdoms. I think it's because of the two national parks, Kasungu and Rukusuzi. We have a lot of trees in Kasungu and Rukusuzi. So when the rains start in Kasungu, at least we still receive a bit of rains in our chiefdom. And if it starts this side, the same. Now the type of soil also has made our farmers to be affected, because some are in red soil, some are in black soil, some are in rom. So red soil needs a lot of water for the crops to do better. Now, as well, they were waiting that no, we'll plant when the rains come. It was just some showers. So their fields were completely dry. Up to the time when we received, I think on two occasions when we had the heavy rains, is when they started planting. But as at now, the crops are still at that, they are not reached the maturity stage. So those farmers are still affected, and I'm one of them. I have a field where the soil is red soil. The maize is not still red up to now.
The National Council of Student Unions, NACOSU, has called on the government to extend bursaries and student loans to private institutions, as students at the institutions equally face hardships to fund their academic ventures. In an interview with Camnet News, NACOSU Secretary General Brian Chinza says the initiative, once actualized, will decongest the public universities, thereby promoting quality education in higher learning institutions. He suggests that those who were previously allocated bursaries pay back to enable government to support other students. Meanwhile, President Hakainde Hichilema, during his address at the National Youth Indaba on the 15th of March 2024, reassured the students that government was on course to actualize their concerns.
In the realm of higher education, private institutions play a pivotal role, offering a diverse array of learning environments and specialized programs. However, access to these esteemed institutions often remains beyond the reach of underprivileged families aspiring to enroll their children. In addressing this pressing issue, the National Council of Student Unions, NACOSU, has advocated for the extension of bursaries and financial aid programs in private learning institutions by the government. Brian Chinza, NACOSU Secretary General, emphasizes that such initiatives, once implemented, will not only alleviate financial barriers, but also foster quality education by alleviating congestion in public universities.
We appeared on many media houses concerning the extension of bursaries and student loans even to the private sector, and we still urge government even today that they should not tire. They should continue fighting. We are aware of the efforts being made to extend to NIPA and Levy Mwanawasa soon, but we are calling on government to continue on this trajectory, for it is helping even decongest the main congested public institutions. Students from private institutions are not different from public institutions. They are all going through the same economic hardships, and it is for this reason that we are calling on government and even the private sector to come on board to try and help students in the private sector. And
in response to these concerns, President Hakainde Hichilema, during his address at the National Youth Indaba on March 15, 2024, assured the attending students that the government is committed to realizing their aspirations.
To come and take away free education. Do not allow anyone to come and take away meal allowances. Also, I must answer that question at this point. There was a question on bursaries and those things. this government will continue expanding bursaries and meal allowances to more universities going forward. Mulungushi, you have heard, not Mulungushi, Levi Mwanawasa, you have heard me. You have heard me. So let's take that question.
Chanda Mwango for Camnet News in Lusaka.
You're watching Camnet Television Main News. We'll take a break. Join us for more news shortly after the break.
Potatoes, the unsung heroes of flavor. From crispy chips to creamy mash, potatoes are the versatile superstars of your kitchen. Grown with love by our dedicated workforce drawn from around the community of Palavana. Savenda Farm's commitment is to see to it that we have potatoes that are grown right, healthy, big and tasty. For that quick fix or big celebration or that meal that brings family together, top chefs rely on the Savenda potato to create culinary masterpieces. And for others, it's that icebreaker to a delightful conversation. So, embrace the magic of Savenda potatoes. They're not just a side dish, they're the heart and soul of your kitchen. Savenda, save nations, develop Africa.
Are you looking for a reliable and efficient courier company with international standards? Then let UBZ Courier, your trusted partner in swift and secure deliveries, be your ultimate choice. Whether it's a small package or a hefty consignment, UBZ Courier handles it all, locally and internationally. Our modern call center ensures personalized attention for every client. For seamless deliveries within Zambia and beyond, trust UBZ Courier. Call us now on +260 763 062 680 or visit us at plot number 15 Mwapona Road, Woodlands, Lusaka, Zambia. UBZ Courier, a world-class brand that can be trusted.
Introducing Darren B, a touch of class. Are you looking for the perfect place to elevate your style and glam up? Look no further. Darren B Touch of Class is your one-stop destination for hair and makeup transformation. Walk into Darren B and walk out feeling like a star. Your transformation starts here. Call us on 0772 870 588 or WhatsApp on 0972 049 213 to book your appointment today. Payments are made via mobile money or point-of-sale machine. Strictly no cash payments. We are located along Mosi Road in Ibex Hill, 4th close on the left after Kalikiliki Police Post. At Darren B, we pride ourselves on our team of dedicated and trained personnel ready to pamper both women and children. Darren B is open 7 days a week from 0720 hours to 1740 hours. From trendy hairstyles and stylish makeovers to flawless makeup, we do it all. Darren B, a touch of class. We continue with the news. Government has begun the construction of Chief Chikanta's Palace in Ndundumwezi constituency of Kalomo district. The construction of 4.2 million kwacha palace was awarded to the Zambia Correctional Service. Zanis has more in this report.
This marks the beginning of the construction of Chief Chikanta's Palace in Ndundumwezi constituency in Kalomo district. The construction of 4.2 million kwacha was awarded to the Zambia Correctional Service, and all the materials are already on site. The Minister of Information and Media Director spokesperson Henry Kapata has visited the site.
Government recognizes the importance of traditional rulers. You can see now that these such projects that bring about the decency of structures for our traditional rulers across the country. And so this is one issue that the President has been very much passionate about, the issue of decency in structures with regards to traditional rulers' palaces.
Kalomo District Commissioner Joshua Sigaduri is happy with the commencement of the works.
As per presidential directives that all the chiefs must have, their palaces be constructed by the government. So you can see the material has been already put in place.
The contractor is Zambia Correctional Service, and they were awarded this project at an amount of 4.2 million.
I'm sure within 3 months we can able to push to the game level. Sure.
The construction of this palace has cheered the traditional leaders.
Initiative nimbo tumaningi kuma chief domo kambo muma palaces mumwi ngagwina ngande aba mwami ibonekera bobo tagwepe ene yajitiga nchibo tumaningi.
Costa Kimdenda, Zanis, in Kalomo District, Southern Province.
Rufunsa district has not been spared by the dry spell that has affected many parts of the country. In response to President Hakainde Hichilema's declaration of the dry spell as a national disaster and emergency, a department under the Ministry of Community Development is implementing a cropping program to mitigate the impact of the looming hunger. Zanis has more in this report.
Rufunsa district has not been spared by the dry spell that has affected most parts of the country. In response to President Hakainde Hichilema's declaration of the dry spell as a national disaster and an emergency, the Department of Community Development is implementing the wetlands cropping program to mitigate the impact of the looming hunger. Officers from the department in Rufunsa district are on the ground to identify and sensitize communities that have wetlands.
People use this same land, which is already wet because it is along the river bank. So we are sure that we'll get something. If they plant this time, we are going to harvest because the land is too wet, and it is a good gesture that people will need to use the inputs.
Rufunsa District Community Development Officer Maureen Kabampi now explains the concept of the program.
The prolonged dry spells, and as the Department of Community Development under the Ministry of Community Development and Social Services, we have been mandated to implement emergency wetland cropping. This follows the declaration by the Republican President of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, that the country, all those areas that were affected by drought should be declared as a national disaster and an emergency. This program is to ensure that each household and that have the water bodies that have damp areas cultivate and have food to ensure food security in their households, and to also assist other communities, surrounding communities that are not able to benefit from the program.
The identified beneficiaries are happy with the initiative by the government.
Boma yatikumbukirako minda mambwera kuno tili nayo yambiri yakuti akatithandiza akatiyazi atingathandizike.
Amikira boma iyi amene yatiyanganapo ise pa program amene yabwera kuti tivale manzi.
Ntokoza pa boma potiganizire ise anthu amene tinkhala mbali mwa manzi. Pachilala chabwera ichi chikulu chamene chaononga milisi yonse. Then potiganizira kuti pasako mbewu na fertilizer kuti tilime futi milisi ya number 2.
The beneficiaries have also appealed to government to consider giving them irrigation equipment so that they can continue with this program throughout the year.
President pa program ine matiletera yokuti so tipembe tu akati pasako ka machine tingatilire malo yakulu tikasolvinga problem pa nyumba.
So ngati boma yatithandizira nishi tingankhala chokondwa kuti njala ichepeko yamene yatichitikira.
Reporting for Zanis in Rufunsa district, I am Msekiwa Ntembe.
Some parliamentarians have called on President Hakainde Hichilema and former President Edgar Lungu to unite amidst the country's economic challenges. Kafulafuta MP Jeffrey Mulewe underscores the importance of reconciliation between the two leaders for the benefit of the country. And Sikongo MP Mayungo Simoshi says unity between the two leaders will help address some of the nation's challenges.
During his State of the Nation address on the progress made in the application of national values and principles, Republican President Hakainde Hichilema called for unity among stakeholders in the country amidst the national disaster which has steered the 2024 budget realignment.
It needs to be done. We understand, we acknowledge that, and we need the support of others, including our colleagues from different political parties, religious.
This has, however, seen some parliamentarians re-echo calls to have President Hichilema and former President Edgar Lungu reconcile amidst the economic challenges the country is facing, such as the drought induced by the El Nino, which has affected the country's food security. Kafulafuta Member of Parliament Jeffrey Mulebwa believes that if the two leaders can unite, some of the challenges the country is facing can be resolved.
Believe in peace. It's clear from a biblical point of view. The scriptures say, behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. And the Bible goes on to talk on how God commands a blessing over such an environment. He commands a blessing. He doesn't ask for a blessing to go on people. He commands a blessing. So as a country, what we need right now is unity that is going to evoke the blessings of God.
Meanwhile, Sikongo lawmaker Mayongo Simushi shares similar views but emphasizes that it is currently impossible for President Hichilema and his predecessor to unite if Mr. Lungu continues his involvement in active politics.
Former President Edgar Lungu took to come back to active politics. Allow me to use this platform to advise President Lungu to say he ran his race, and whatever he did, where he failed, where he managed to do, I think he should have just let that lay, so that he sits back and enjoys the status of a statesman. Someone that, like you've rightfully put it, someone that President Hakainde Hichilema would once in a while get back to and ask for advice on national matters. But what he has done actually is now reduced himself. He has removed that royal robe which he was putting on. And I don't know for what, because the people that are cheating him, that he can come back and rule this country. I think I just missed it.
Previously, calls have been made by various stakeholders to have the two leaders reconcile. Is this attainable? Time will tell. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
We'll take a break. We'll be back with international sports news after the break.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
Welcome back. And now in foreign news, at least 16 soldiers, including 4 officers, were killed in southern Nigeria while responding to a distress call during fighting between 2 communities. The attack in the oil-rich riverine Delta State happened in the Bomadi Council area Thursday when the soldiers deployed to keep the peace were surrounded by some community youths and killed. The attack led to the death of the commanding officer, 2 majors, 1 captain and 12 soldiers, Gusau said, adding that a few arrests have been made related to the attack, which is now being investigated by the military. Here's a roundup of international news for more.
At least 16 soldiers, including 4 officers, were killed in southern Nigeria while responding to a distress call during fighting between 2 communities, defense officials confirmed on Saturday. The attack in the oil-rich riverine Delta State happened in the Bomadi Council area Thursday when the soldiers deployed to keep the peace were surrounded by some community youths and killed. The attack led to the death of the commanding officer, 2 majors, 1 captain and 12 soldiers. Local media reported the conflict in Delta was related to a lingering land dispute between the Okuama and Okoloba communities, which resulted in the abduction of 1 man. The soldiers had successfully tried to negotiate his freedom. Though mostly deployed on special security operations across West African country, Nigeria soldiers are sometimes sent to resolve conflict in communities, especially in areas with inadequate security presence or where daily clashes are common. South Sudan's government is closing down all schools starting Monday as the country prepares for a wave of extreme heat expected to last 2 weeks. The Health and Education Ministries advise parents to keep all children indoors as temperatures are expected to soar to 45 degrees Celsius in a statement last Saturday. They warn that any school found open during that time will have its registration withdrawn, but didn't specify how long the schools will remain shuttered. The ministry said they will continue to monitor the situation and inform the public accordingly. South Sudan, one of the world's youngest nations, is particularly vulnerable to climate change, with heat waves common but rarely exceeding 40 degrees Celsius. Civil conflicts has plagued the East African country, which has suffered from drought and flooding, making living conditions difficult for residents. The World Food Programme, in its latest countries briefing, says South Sudan continues to face a dire humanitarian crisis due to violence, economic instability, climate change, and an influx of people fleeing the conflict in neighboring Sudan. It also stated that 800,000 vulnerable people were given food and cash-based transfer in January 2024. Niger's junta said Saturday the U.S. military presence in the country is no longer justified, making the announcement on state television after holding high-level talks with the U.S. diplomatic and military officials last week. Niger plays a central role in the U.S. military operations in Africa's Sahel region and is home to a major air base. In reading the statement, the junta spokesman, Colonel Major Amadou Abdramani, stopped short of saying U.S. forces should leave. He said Niger was suspending military cooperation with Washington and added that U.S. flights over the country's territory in recent weeks were illegal. The U.S. military in recent years began operating a major air base in the Niger city of Agadez, some 920 kilometers from the capital of Niamey, using it for manned and unmanned surveillance flights and other operations. In October, Washington officially designated the military takeover as a coup, which triggered U.S. laws restricting the military support and aid that it can provide to Niger.
In sports news tonight, ZESCO United have narrowed the gap over log leaders Red Arrows with a 2-1 win over KANSANSHI Dynamos. The Ndola-based side had to come from a goal down to claim all 3 points and move to 48 points, 2 behind Arrows. Jimmy Mukaya put KANSANSHI in the lead after 13 minutes, but John Chingandu equalized on the halfway mark. Meanwhile, ZESCO United defender Solomon Sakala scooped both Supersport and Fans Man of the Match awards in our 2-1 victory over KANSANSHI Dynamos. Solomon scored the winning goal against KANSANSHI in the added minutes of the first half and kept the defense solid throughout the game. To end Camnet television news, the top stories once again. A family in LUSAKA'S KANYAMA compound marries off 16-year-old daughter at 200 kwacha. MASAITI man commits suicide after killing wife and stepson. LUNGU and HH urged to reconcile. In international news, 16 soldiers killed in southern Nigeria during fighting between communities. And in sports news, ZESCO United beats KANSANSHI Dynamos by 2-1. Our Camnet verse of the day is coming from the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 16 to 18. Rejoice evermore, pray without ceasing. In everything give thanks, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus concerning you. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Thanks for watching Camnet Television News. Good night.